Good morning, everybody, and this week we're titled with Service Advisors, the lifeblood of your service department. That couldn't be more true. I don't know if I introduced myself. My name is Tony DeLeonibus, and I am a consultant with Fixed Performance. Recently, I've been doing a lot of individualized service advisor training. Some dealers have contacted us with specific issues regarding a specific service consultant who they really liked, but was not performing up to standard in his peer group. They felt he had the potential, but just wasn't getting there. So we designed a sort of a 2-day training course for an individual service advisor, and it was very successful, and we did it with some other dealers, and it's gone very, very well. It's also very effective with new service consultants. But I want to touch on the high points of what we did there to try and give the listeners and management sort of our input and our point of view from the advisor's standpoint. Now, in the service department, we like to teach, we have two sides. We have production and sales. Production, as we all know, is the execution of available labor hours. And I always like to use the labor hour factory analogy that, our shop is a labor hour factory, and we could take that with real easy math. If we have 10 technicians and they work 8 hours a day, our factory has the potential of producing 80 labor hours per day. And how do we achieve that and exceed that? On the flip side to that is we have to provide the raw materials or the fuel for the factory, which come directly from the service advisors. Now, first things first, we can't get a car into the shop without going through the service advisors. My personal observation and studies we've done as a company is that in general, and I think everyone could probably agree, service consultant is a very challenging position. One of the most challenging in a dealership, both variable or fixed operations, in that they see more clients in a day than any other person in the dealership. It is a sales position. We put responsibilities on them. They have responsibilities on them that affect other people, technicians, the whole department. It's a sales position. They have three basic customers: customer, internal, and the warranty company, whomever that is, the factory or extended service contract. And we have to keep all these people happy in a timeline that fits for all people, as well as ancillary transactions, i.e. alternate transportation, shuttle rides, pickups, technicians, having to call technical assistance, parts issues, balancing act that the advisors go through on a daily basis to try and keep their head above water. And it's been my observation that when a dealership hires a service consultant, a service advisor, they hire someone who they think is going to be able to do the job well. We all are looking for the plug-and-play person, the person who is already familiar with our DMS, who has a long-standing track record with good CSI, high hours per RO, and high effective labor rate. And the facts are that these people are very, very hard to come by. They generally are not jumping around from job to job as frequently as lower performers. And I know I've been through this myself, where I've hired a person, I've had high hopes, they've interviewed well, everything should be working, and they get in there and it's not a good fit. They're not performing at their job. Fast forward a month, 2 months, still not performing at the job. We need to come up with some sort of solution, so we modify their pay plan or call them in and show them where some mistakes are and what they should be doing, and bark at them about doing their walk around and selling. We're not selling. It occurred to me while working with some of these people that there's very little formalized initial training for a service consultant. And to task someone with that many things and responsibilities without formal training is a tall order. So I would say maybe 1 in 10% of people that you may hire and put in there may do okay and succeed, and that's by sheer luck, by and large. that they will do well at that position. Now, it's difficult. I find it difficult as a trainer and a coach to write a formalized advisor training format that fits across the board, that you could plug into any dealership or plug into any different department and have operate properly, because so much of this role, this position with our service consultant, depends on the individual's personality and their ability to and talent for interacting with others. When we boil it all down to fundamentals, it's still interaction between two individuals. It's an interaction between the service consultant and the client. From a variable point of view, a salesperson on the floor was talking with a client about, a new vehicle they may be interested in going through their sales process. Would we have them taking other phone calls to schedule additional clients for them to talk to in the future? Would we have them doing a delivery with another customer at the same time while they were working with this new potential client? And the answers are no. But in general, that's what we ask the service consultants to do. Now, I'm not defending their every move, but I think we should keep their singleness of purpose at the forefront of our training and expectations. If we when we want our service consultants to sell, which really means inform and educate, statistically, it's proven over and over and over again that it's not about fancy, tricky word tracks or mind games. It's about informing and educating the clients about their vehicle needs, that those will equal sales. So when we keep the singleness of purpose at the forefront, what do we want our service consultants to do is to work with the client, work with the customer, have a conversation with the customer, ask about their plans for the vehicle. It's going to play a big part of what the recommendations are from the shop. Now, people can read through the lines if they see desperation in service consultant's face. I've worked in dealerships, not as a trainer or coach or consultant, but in retail, working in the dealership, where I've heard, as a service director, I've heard customers say, it just looks like they're too stressed out when talking about the service consultant. Nothing was really bad, but something got missed in the visit, and they just seemed too stressed out. The perception of that from the client is that it's too fast-paced, they're not going to pay attention to details, and unfortunately, much of our business is perception-based, so the client is going to feel that that's the attention that their vehicle receives from the shop and from the technicians. I'm going to circle back to service consultants and how can we train and groom these people to perform as we need them to perform and sell as we need them to sell, keep retention as we need them to keep retention, build business as we need them to. First of all, I believe that we have to take a very objective look at how much are they being tasked with. And there's lots of talk about what's the right number for advisors, or repair orders per advisor per day. And, we can talk about monthly numbers of around 350 and daily numbers from anywhere from 15 to 18, 12 to 17. Larger volume urban stores, will justify 18 to 24. But really, I don't think any of those numbers are valid until we take a look at the individual department and what those service consultants are responsible for. For example, are they responsible for scheduling the reservation? Or is there a BDC or an appointment coordinator who is tasked with this? Are they responsible for dispatching? Are they responsible for calling special order parts customers? Now, I'm not saying that any of them should or shouldn't be responsible for all of the above. However, we need to take into consideration how much are they being asked to deal with, and how does that affect their ability to properly consult with the client and have a genuine conversation with the client about their vehicle's needs to inform them and educate them. So from an analytic point of view, there's no way to throw a blanket over that role and that position and just say these are the word tracks that a service consultant should use, and they'll be successful. He can follow these steps, and he'll be successful. To a point, there is, fundamentals that they need to be following through the intake process and proper walk around, menu presentation, reviewing the history, making recommendations based on age and mileage, and then reviewing additional service requests from a multi-point inspection. Those are all fundamental, and I agree with them 100%. However, execution of those things is where I see the biggest variance between the individuals on the service desk. They are the face. They literally are our lifeblood in the service department and anything after sales for that matter. We want to have key throwers. We want the customers and clients to feel that they, quote unquote, I got a guy. So whenever they go buy something at another location and they're approached for tire replacement or some sort of maintenance, that their reaction is to back away from that because they have a guy. I got a guy at the dealership who takes care of all my stuff. And that comes from the individual and their ability to make a relationship with the client. It's a tricky topic, and it's a tricky process in execution for maximum effectiveness in working with service consultants. It's not easy to do. It can be very successful when done properly, but in management, I think it's very important that we consider all of the things that they're being tasked with and keeping their primary focus working with the clients, however that may be. The pay plans that are out there are often very competitive and based on sales. I heard a very good speaker at a Volkswagen conference actually one time in Dallas, and his statement was, and this has resonated with me through the years, was in the presence of weak leadership, pay plan is the job description. In the presence of strong leadership, pay plan is the job description. So unfortunately, I understood all too well what he meant, that no matter what, the pay plan should be what we want to do. Here at Fixed Performance, we're happy to help. If anyone has any questions or needs advice on working with service consultants, we are always here to help. There's questions we can answer through email or over the phone. We would be happy to. There's any assistance that we could provide on site in your dealership, we would be happy to do that as well. We can discuss a custom format or a specific service consultant if there's a concern such as this. Like I said, I've noticed a lot of dealerships have service consultants that should be performing well by all rights. On paper, they should be performing well, and they're just not. And it's been our observation that once we get in there and spend one-on-one time with that service consultant, our format consists of one full classroom day off the drive and then one full day on the driveway, shoulder to shoulder with the service consultant, working every phone call and every client that they work with throughout the day.
Hi, meet Christy. She's the service manager of a new car dealership. She has been looking for ways to improve her knowledge of fixed operations, but she is just not sure where to look. There are so many options these days. Christy needs a newsletter that gives her insights into today's competitive fixed operations world. She has decided to get the Fixed Performance newsletter because it comes directly to her email each and every month with no cost whatsoever. Not only does this newsletter give her the insights she's been looking for, but it also has real-life experiences in car dealerships all over North America. Now Christy has turned these stories into mandatory practices in her service department. So let me ask you, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to the Fixed Performance newsletter today. Fixed Performance, where we have total commitment to your team's excellence.